Just to kind of go over what the Healthy Habits is all about, it's really about improving all overall wellness. It's not just about diet, it's not just about exercise, it's not just about losing weight, it's overall wellness. So that's why we do some things like read and meditate and try to keep our screen time. We've discovered that screen time's a little harder right now where it gets dark earlier and it's hard to stay active. If we were in the summer, it would probably be a little easier because we'd be out and moving more. But maybe that's good for us now to help keep us moving a little bit. So hopefully that's working out okay. As far as the 30 minutes of physical exercise, remember that can be whatever you want it to be. And I actually walked outside today for about 20 minutes. It was really nice. Which I'm pretty sure it's just faking us out because it's not going to stay that nice. But yeah, find something you can do. Find something that can keep you active for that 30 minutes. Like I say, the 2 hours or less screen time doesn't count your work time, but watch your television, your tablets, your social media, that kind of stuff. Try to keep it under the 2 hours. What's the other? Oh, read or meditate for your 10 minutes. Make sure that's something positive and something that's calming. That's really why we're trying to do that, is to get you to sit down and take a breath and just maybe not think. So that's the reasoning behind that. I do have, we've got 8 teams, I think, this year. And if you haven't given me your team name, I need that tonight. And then we've got some individuals that aren't on teams. So we've got a good group going. We met in Melford on Monday, and there's 7 of them down there. So that's pretty typical of our numbers there. So I just kind of like to say up front that if you have any health issues or health problems, you really should talk to your physician first. I don't want you doing anything that's dangerous, and I'm not qualified to decide if you can do that or not. A physician is. So we want to make sure everybody's safe with that. Also, I like to say up front that this isn't really a weight loss program. It's again about overall wellness. That being said, a lot of them that participate in the program will lose weight. Just drinking water can help you do that. And it may be a challenge for some of us right off the bat to get that much water, but I honestly think that water is probably the best habit that we can get into, and the one that makes the biggest difference quickly. And you may notice that you may gain a couple of pounds water weight right away, but your body will pretty soon kind of regulate itself, and then you'll lose that. So don't be alarmed if that's what it feels like at first. Because it does take a while, and then it kind of evens out and regulates it. So I just want to remind you about my 4 R's. My 4 R's are first, to record your points daily. So you all have a tracking sheet. If you wait until the end of the week, you may forget, but that's really not the reason we should do it daily. If we do it daily, that makes it intentional. We're paying attention. We're like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be drinking my water and I'm supposed to be active. And so you should mark your papers every single day. That just makes, a lot of this program is awareness and being intentional about our actions, so I think that's really helpful if you do that. The next one is to read your emails. So I can't communicate with you if you don't read your emails. So most of you, Paula, no, I don't know, I haven't checked lately. I know, I just like to teach you. Most of you read the email and actually clicked on the link and put your name in. That way I know you're getting the email. Because a few years ago, Braden blocked me and wouldn't let me email him for months.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you don't get it unless you respond to that email. He fixed it now and we're all friends.
That's right. My filter had a character judge on it.
It must have done. Like, I don't want to see this. So make sure you're responding and put your name in, and because then I know you're getting your email. So record your points, read your emails, and then respond to your emails on Monday. If this would have been next week, some of you would have failed and not got your money back, right? Because you have to report your scores on Mondays, if you'll remember that. So check on Mondays. I try to do it before noon on Mondays most of the time. I can get that done. So try to check it on Monday and make sure you report. Anytime before midnight is good. Because when you enter it on that link, it time and date stamps it. So I know when it comes in. So respond, and then you get to receive your rebate money. For the first 6 weeks, you'll get that $5 back if you respond every single Monday. So do you have questions about that? What questions? Any? You're good? Awesome. All right, I'm gonna let Kaylee talk about the water challenge first, and then I have some information for you after that.
All right. Okay. So we're just gonna take a couple minutes to talk about a couple of the challenges that we have. So the first one we're gonna talk about is our water, and then we're gonna talk about tracking food. If you noticed, that's on next week. So fluid recommendations. Daily fluid intake is defined as amount of water consumed from foods, plain drinking water, and other beverages. So this is what the recommendations are for right now of what you should be getting as far as your fluids. So men, you should be getting about 15.5 cups of water a day. Women, 11.5 cups, and then the youth you can see right here as well. So this includes all of our fluids from food, water, anything else we drink. So what we're doing is we're asking that you guys drink the 64 ounces of water each day, of plain water each day, because when we drink plain water, it has a lot of good benefits for our bodies. So only about 20% of our fluids come from our food that we drink. So we have to get our other fluids from like beverages. And water is a great one to be drinking because it has 0 calories, so we want to be making sure to drink that. And it's inexpensive, and so it's a great way to be getting your fluids in. Sorry, I'll back up real fast. You can still drink other fluids because we still need more than the 64 ounces of water for the whole day. But we want to be making sure to drink that plain water for our 64 ounces for our challenge. So the reasons that we want to be making sure to drink water is because water is really good for our bodies. It helps regulate your temperature, it cushions your joints, it helps your tissues in your body, and it also transports oxygen and other nutrients to our cells. So our body is pretty much made up of water, so that's why it's so important for us to be drinking it each day. We need to be drinking even more water at certain times. So those are just the recommendations, but there are times that we even need more water than what's recommended. So because we're also asking you to be physically active, it's cold outside, right? Some of these other ones might not apply to all of you, but we live in a high altitude. We even need more fluids than what's recommended. So 64 ounces, is that hard for anyone? Yeah. So it's hard for me. This is one of my biggest challenges, is I'm making sure that I get my water in the day. But we need to be making sure we're probably all lacking on our amount of fluids that we need. And so water is something that we all really need to work on. And so if you're in any of these conditions, you need to be making sure to drink even more. One thing I just want to point out with the cold weather, even though sometimes in the summer it's hot and so we feel like we need to drink all the time, but where right now it's winter, your body doesn't really feel that as much, and so even though it's not hot and it's cold, you still need that much more water than when it's hot, if that makes sense. And then if you're thirsty, that's already a sign that your body needs water, and it needs those fluids. You're already dehydrated, so you should be drinking then. So tips and tricks to drinking water. These are just a couple of the things that I came up with. You can carry a water bottle. That's a really big help, especially as you're doing this challenge, is to carry a water bottle around with you all the time. make sure to track your water intake. That just makes you more aware of the things that the water that you're putting in your body. You can always set an alarm, make it a morning and night habit. One thing that I really like to do is just before I go to bed, I fill up a big glass of water and I drink the whole thing. And so it's just, so that might not be something you want to do, but that's a habit that I have made for myself. But you can do some infused water if you'd like to do that. We just ask that to use your fresh fruits and things if you're going to do that. You have to be really careful about like the drops and the packets that you put in your water because they can contain like lots of sugar, or they can sometimes contain caffeine, other things like that. So you have to be careful about those. Another one of these that I really like is drink a glass of water before you eat, and because you'll actually find that you eat less as you do this as well, because your body is already registering that you're getting full from just drinking that water before you eat. Does anybody else have any tips and tricks that they would like to share with the group of things they do? Yes.
I don't set a timer, but I know if I drink a bottle by noon and then a bottle by 4, then I just have a little bit to go after that. So and
That's
then
what I
end
do
up drinking
too.
even more water because after 4 I'm so thirsty.
Yep.
So it works out.
That works out. Anyone else want to share anything that you do?
Yeah, and you have use a straw there.
Oh yes.
So I have 2 different water bottles, and one has a straw and one doesn't, and I wondered if it made any difference to me, but I actually drink more water with the one with the straw. And I think it's just because all I have to do is unscrew that lid, and even that tiny bit delays me a little bit. So find something that works for you.
Another thing that I think that is helpful, if you can, is to invest in a good water bottle, because I feel like that helps me. I have a nice water bottle and I love drinking my water out of that. And if you invest in it, you're more likely to use it, right? All right, so any other questions about water and fluid intakes? No? All right, so if you notice next week on your tracking sheet, there's a little extra one down here that says tracking your food, and we're gonna do this for 1 week. Tracking your food can sometimes be a little tedious, and so that's why we're not doing it for the whole challenge. But one of the main reason that we want you guys to track your food is just for you to have awareness of what you're putting in your body. We are never going to see this food tracker that you guys take. You don't have to show it to us at all. So it's just going to be a big awareness to you. And so it's going to give us these 4 things: insight, accountability and awareness, eating balanced meals, and it's going to help with our problem areas as well. So insight, it can give you insight to your eating habits. So you may not realize, but everybody has eating habits. And so you might know what yours are, or you might not. But as you're tracking your food, it keeps track of like the time, things, and we'll talk about how to do it in just a second. But you can really gain an insight to what you're actually putting into your body and like when as well. So accountability and awareness just helps you make yourself aware and see where your calories are coming from. Because we might not realize how many calories we're actually putting into our body each day. And if you eat like as little as 100 extra calories a day, you can gain up to 10 pounds of weight a year. And so all that little bit makes a big difference. Eating balanced meals. This is My Plate for any of you that haven't seen that before. And this is what the USDA has out for their recommendations right now. And so you might realize that as you're tracking your food that you're not eating balanced meals. You might be missing one of the main food groups that you should be getting in your diet each day. And then problem areas, you might find some areas that you have problems with as you're tracking your food, and like times you might have emotional eating or things like that. And so that's the reason we want you to track your food, is just to make you more aware. So how can you track your food? There are apps, or you can do it the old school way and do notebook and pencil. But I would really highly recommend, if you can, is doing it on an app, because they have a lot more information and you will get a lot more out of it if you do it through an app. So the two that I've personally tried and really like that are the MyFitnessPal and the MyPlate calorie tracker. I actually like the MyFitnessPal more. They're both free apps, so you don't have to pay for them. But I'm just gonna flip to this next page and show you. So this is what MyFitnessPal looks like when you actually have it. And so they're all super easy to use. They just have a search bar here at the top where you search for your food. It has you mark like breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, whatever, where you're eating it at. And then you can put in the quantity of food that you ate. So like a slice of pepper jack cheese, I don't know. This is one I did a long time ago. Like ranch, I ate 2 tablespoons of ranch one day. So you can just look up any food that you have, and it will give you all the calories as well and all their nutritional information too. And then after you search it, it just puts it in like throughout the whole day. You can see what it kind of looks like. But it's super, they're really easy to use. Does anyone have any other apps that they've used that, or?
We use the Samsung Health one that comes on our phone.
Yeah, and there is like there's that one, or there's the Fitbit one if you have a Fitbit too that will connect to your Fitbit. There's a ton of free ones out there that you can use. And then if you don't want to use an app or don't have access to something that you can get an app on, you can always just write it down with a pen and pencil, and you can still get those same insights as you do, but you're just not gonna get as full, like you're not gonna know exactly how many calories unless you're calculating it out by hand each time. The apps just kind of do it for you, so it makes it a little simpler. So we're gonna do this for 1 week, starting next Monday till next Saturday. Does anyone have any questions about that? No? Okay. So just a few tips to tracking your food, because it can be kind of tedious if you've never done it before. But it does get easier as you do it. So the number one thing that you can do is do it as you go. It's a lot easier to write it down right then than go back and do it later. And something that I've done before, if I didn't have time to sit down and like type in all my food in my app or something, I just take a picture of what I was eating, and then I can go back later and actually look and see what I was eating instead of having to go by memory. So measure your food. You might be really surprised at the serving sizes of something. So if you get out your measuring cups and measure your food, and really make sure that you're accurate on that. So you want to make sure to track everything that you eat. So you eat and drink. So you have to make sure to even track, like if you're drinking pop on top of all your water, right? Then you have to make sure to track that, or any other fluids that you're gonna get. And then you can't forget any of the little extras, because they have calories too, right? Any little candies that you pick up off your desk in the day, like ketchup or any toppings, they all have to be tracked to make sure that you're really accurate. And then the biggest thing you can do for yourself is just to be honest with yourself, because we are not gonna see this again. This is just for you to gain insight to what your eating habits are and what you're putting into your body. And it really might be an eye-opener for some of you, and some of you might already know. But if you just be honest and be completely honest with yourself, then you're gonna get the most out of this. Anything else? You guys have anything else?
So much about this program is about awareness and about trying to figure out where you're at and to reflect. And so we're gonna do a lot of that tonight. We're gonna come up with some reasons why you think you wanna change and why you're really here. So why are you really here?
To change healthy habits.
Okay, so we wanna get more healthy. Why else? Cause my sister drugged me here? No, that didn't
I
happen.
wanna feel better.
Yes.
Yeah, because you wanna feel better, right? And maybe someone said, oh, come and do this with me and be my friend, and you said, oh, okay, I'll be your friend. But you still would not have come unless you really had a reason. And so it's really great to have a personal reason why you're here. So I want you to reflect. Reflect for just a minute, that top question about why you are here. And write down 1 or 2 sentences about why you're interested in this program. Why did you get here in the first place? Because we're a little bit like little kids that always ask why? They don't want to do anything until they know why. We're not that much different. We're not going to be very successful unless we know why we're here and why we want to make those changes. Does anybody have a good reason they want to share? Nobody's brave enough?
She's laughing over here, she should share.
Okay, I'll share.
Okay,
Last year I lost 61 pounds and I have 100 more to lose, and that's one of the reasons I'm here.
great.
Last year you did this?
No, I did it on my own last year.
Wow.
That's awesome. So you've started that journey and you want to continue. That's perfect. Anybody else?
I have just help with motivation.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need something to kick myself in
To
the butt
keep us
get
going.
or keep
And
going.
maybe some competition, because when we put our teams together and we compete against each other, we use competition, and some of us are a bit more competitive than others.
Yeah.
This team over here is really gonna go after you. You've gotta be ready.
Right.
And then we also use cooperation, because your teammates can encourage you. And this is kind of your support group now, this whole group, because we're trying to do the same things. We all want to be better, and so we're going to support each other. Okay, anybody else want to share?
Well, it helped me tremendous last year.
Okay. You had a lot of
things.
success.
I did. I lost 26 pounds
Yeah.
just on this program.
Without doing a lot
That's
of,
not even really, I wasn't even really just following the things,
Right.
basically. That's all I did.
not a lot of major things. Just some small changes that we're trying to make. Okay, so really we're looking at, you can say I'm here for the prizes or something like that, but that intrinsic reason that motivates yourself inside you, that's what's really important. So we're gonna talk about stages of change for just a minute. And this is really a model that makes sense in a lot of things, not just health and wellness. So there's these 6 stages of change, and you may not be in the same stage of change as the person who's sitting next to you, which is okay. What we want to do is identify where we're at, and then what we have to do so that we'll move from one stage to the next. So this first one, this pre-contemplation, this means that we're not really even thinking about making a change. We're not really interested. It's not that big of a deal. It's not my fault. Why should I care? I doubt anybody in this room is still there. Those that are still there kind of tend to have a feeling of hopelessness, like, yeah, it's never gonna make any difference. There's a lot of reluctance, rebellion, resignation, and rationalization. So most of you that are here, I would guess, are probably past that, or you wouldn't be here at all. Some of you may still kind of be thinking, well, I guess, but I don't know why I'm really here yet. Which is okay if you are. The goal, if you're in that stage, is to start thinking about change. What can you do? Start thinking that, oh yeah, maybe I want to. The next one, contemplation. This is the one that says, well, one day I'll do this, or I know I should be doing this, or I really need to do this. So you know there's a problem, and you're thinking, no, it'll happen in a few weeks. This was me about Christmas time. Yeah, I really know I need to do this, but I'm not quite ready to make that change because it's a holiday. So you're aware it's there, but I didn't have a commitment. So some of you may be in that stage, still in that stage, saying, yeah, I know there's a problem. I don't know if I can really commit all in for this program. The goal there is to find out what your benefits are to changing and what some of your barriers are so that we can get rid of those, so we can get past that stage. The next one, preparation. This means that you're to the point where you've got to do something about it. What can I do? How can I change? How do I get motivated? And I'm hoping that most of us are close to this stage, at least within the next few weeks, because in this stage our goal is to identify change strategies. And that's what we're here to help you with, is to help you know how to make those changes and to give you some strategies and some educational opportunities so that you'll understand, well, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and this will help me get past. So we're kind of preparing right now as we go through. The next one is action. This is the one that says, oh, I've been taking the stairs more, or I've been walking more, and I'm starting to drink water, and people are starting to see that I'm making some different changes. I'm not eating quite as much chocolate. I might not quite be there yet. I'm getting closer. So this is kind of where I hope everyone is, at least in the action stage at the end of the first 6 weeks, is that you are making those changes and people are starting to notice, and they can see that you are trying, and you can see that you're trying. The next one, maintenance. This is the one where you're saying, I always drink my water, I'm always exercising, I'm always paying attention to what I eat, those types of things, where you've established those behaviors and they're starting to become long-term habits. And so you're just kind of going along that those old negative habits are being replaced by some positive ones. So that's the maintenance stage. And this is kind of where I hope everybody is at the end of the program after the 3 6-week challenges.
I'm not doing a relapse.
Well, we're not there yet. The goal in this maintenance stage is to prevent relapse, because how many of us have been going along really great and I'm doing really, really good, and all of a sudden, no, fall off the wagon.
It's called November, December,
Yeah, December,
November
the
and
holidays,
December.
you know, and so relapse, and what's important to know about relapse is that it's perfectly normal and it's probably going to happen. We were talking before, and this is the 7th year we've done this program, and because it's almost 5 months, people go through a lot of life changes. I've had people lose a parent to death. I've had people get sick. One person got cancer in the middle. You know, I mean, life's going to happen to us, and so are we going to stay in that maintenance stage that whole time? No, because life gets disruptive. So we may relapse, which is okay, as long as when we relapse, our thought process isn't, well, I don't have perfect score for today, I might as well not even do it tomorrow. That's the wrong attitude to have. We need to say, you know what, I didn't do very well today, I'm gonna do better tomorrow. And we just have to keep going back and going back and going back. I've participated in this program almost every time I've done it, and I still relapse and need to come back and start again. It would be great if I didn't. You'd think I could not use this program, right? That I'd be perfect. It's not gonna happen. We're not really striving for perfection. We're looking for progress. And that's to keep trying. So that relapse doesn't mean we've failed, but we might think we have, or I can't do this. But it's that we need to decide what to do next, and to know that those little slip-ups, we can learn from them. Well, what caused me to not do that anymore? Well, I got sick and I had a cold for a week, and now I can't exercise because I can't breathe when I walk. That makes a difference, right? But now that I'm better, I can start back on there again. So as you look at these stages of change, look on your paper and I want you to mark which stage of change you think you are in right now. Remember, this is so much about awareness. Where do you think you're at? And you, like I say, you may not be the same as the person sitting next to you. That's okay. What we're trying to do throughout this program is if you're in contemplation, we want you to move to preparation. And if you're in action, we want to move you to maintenance. We want you guys to be able to move and take those steps. Does this theory make sense? And you know, it's just like that with anything else, not just health and wellness. Any other habits or anything else we do. Any change, because is change easy? It is so not easy. If change was easy, we'd all do it. But it's not. So I really want you to think about where you're at and how you can take those steps to move. So this little diagram shows us all different things about health, kind of a different definition of health and wellness. It's got a lot to it. It can be exercise, it can be diet, maybe we need to go to the doctor, maybe we think it means no pain, maybe we think it needs, we need to learn to relax more. That might be part of it. Maybe our sleep is being affected. Maybe we need more vitamins or we should eat more vegetables. So our wellness vision, my wellness vision is probably different than yours. Okay, I may think that, what is it? How do you define health and wellness? You might say, well, to me that means to have no pain. Or to me that means, I don't have to be on any medications. So think about what is your vision? What would it look like if you were healthy? Just kind of picture in your mind, what would your life look like if you were healthy?
Is it okay if we write down what we think we need more of?
Yeah, and we're gonna write in just a sec. And maybe it is. Maybe it's that I can walk up a flight of stairs without breathing really hard. That might be where we're at. Sometimes when we have some chronic diseases and things like that, that's what our vision of wellness is. So on that next part of your paper where it says wellness vision, I want you to either to write a couple of lines or draw a picture. What does it look like? What does wellness look like to you? What is your vision of wellness? If you were healthy, what would it be? Maybe it's that I can walk 3 miles without stopping. Maybe it's that you're exercising every single day. Or that you're not completely exhausted at the end of the workday and you go home and you just sit on your couch for the rest of the night. I hope that happens to someone besides just me. Sometimes it's like that.
It's kind of middle-aged.
It can be. It's our habits, right? That's what we end up doing. So is there anybody that wants to share a little bit of what their wellness vision looks like, what it means to you? Go ahead.
My grandpa, on my mom's side died of colon cancer. My grandma on my dad's side died of colon cancer, so I have it coming at me from both sides. I've already had polyps. I've already, at 40, I had polyps already. And so to me, my healthy vision is not getting
Cancer-free. Yeah, see, that's awesome. That's perfect. We all have individual circumstances. Anybody else want to share?
Question.
Go ahead.
I suffer from panic disorder, and I've needed 3 surgeries for multiple years now that I've not got. And my healthy vision is to go this year and get my 3 surgeries.
Awesome. See, those are great. Anybody else like to share?
To live longer.
Yeah, I don't want to die this year, right? And most of us probably aren't on that level, but there's some that could be. And we want to be here for our families, or it means, sticking around to watch our kids grow up.
And my grandkids.
Yeah. So think about your wellness vision, what it really means to you, because that gives you a reason. And we're going to talk about that next. What's your reason? What's your reason to make these changes? We all need an individual reason, and at least 1 or 2. And this is all about what's important to you and what do you value. So your reason to change might be so I can go skiing with my grandkids. Or my reason to change might be so I can continue deer hunting and be able to hike on the mountain. Or that I can play ball with my kids. Or I can continue to farm. Whatever it is, what's valuable to you, and what are you willing to invest your time in to get to that point? So it's a little bit like your wellness vision, but it's what gets you to that vision. Does that make sense? So right there on your reasons to change, I want you to put one good reason why you should change. What is your real reason? What's your priority, your value? And then that box that says reasons not to change, because there are a lot of reasons not to change that are easy. So what's your reason not to change?
It's easier to not change.
Easy.
It's like a good one.
Yeah, it's harder. I would probably have to say the biggest reason for me not to change would be time. Yeah.
There's only so many hours in a day.
But here it is. If I say that I really value wellness, should time be an issue?
No.
No, because I should make time for what I value the most. And if you don't value health and wellness, do you think you're going to be really successful in making those changes? Kaylee and I watch a lot of people come in, and when they very first come in and they sign up, we kind of watch to see what their attitudes are. We're totally analyzing you all the time. No, but we've watched a lot of people in the past that come in, and it's been several years ago, but I had someone come in and they said, so explain this program to me. So I was telling them all about it. Well, but what if we do this? And I said, well, this is what we do for our challenges. And we were talking about not using your cell phone when you're driving. And this person's like, well, it's just as dangerous to eat while you drive too. And I said, yes, that's distracted driving too, but on here, and we just kind of went back and forth. And Kaylee kind of was listening to the conversation. We both looked at each other afterwards and we're like, he's not ready. He's not ready to be here. He's not putting a value on this. It's not a priority for him. If he's going to be resistant to all this, he's not going to be successful, and he was not at all. So attitude makes a big difference, and how you're feeling about it makes a huge difference. Anybody want to say some of the reasons not to change?
I really like sugar, treats, chocolate.
That's right.
And they're all available right now.
I know, and I haven't finished my Christmas chocolate.
Exactly.
My whole drawer is full of it.
Are you still eating your orange sticks?
No, I finished off 3 or 4 boxes already. But I still have some chocolate. I'm kind of addicted to orange sticks. They're dark chocolate, it's healthy. No, I know it's not. But what are some of your reasons to change? Someone want to share the reason to change? What have you got, Kristen?
Oh, I said my pants keep getting tired and I refuse to buy bigger ones.
Right. But isn't that some of the reason that we change? So that we think we'll look better or their clothes will fit better? Those are okay reasons to change. We all have to have one. And it's okay. So look at your reasons to change and your reasons not to change. And which one's more important? Really analyze which one is more important. And then here we are about how important is your goal to change. On the scale of 0 to 10, how important is it to you to change? So pick a spot on here and circle where you're at. Maybe you're at a 3 or 4, maybe you're at a 7 and 8, maybe you're clear up to 10 and say, yeah, this is important. This is super important to me. And we look at this and we say, if we're at a 7, 8, 9, 10, then we're probably putting a priority on this. And that's going to help us to be more successful. If we're down in the 2 and the 3 range, this probably doesn't mean much to us right now. And we may have to do something to move up that scale so that we can be successful. But it's nice to know where you're at. and to see that. And then this next one is how confident you are. A lot of the studies that we've done is if you think you can be successful, you're more successful. So can you reach your goals? Are you able to do these habits? How confident are you that you are? Choose a spot on your scale between 0 and 10. And again, change is hard, but if we take one step or one day at a time, then we can be confident. And think back at a time when you made a change, or you were successful with exercising or eating properly. Did you do that at one point in your life? Have you been confident and successful? Look back at that and say, oh, I was successful. What was I doing to make me be successful? What can I do to repeat that? And again, we want to see you move up. We want to be in the 7, 8, 9, somewhere right around there. Because if you're setting a goal that you're not confident you're going to make, that goal's probably too hard. We want a goal to challenge you, but we don't want it to be unrealistic. And if you're not confident enough to think you can make it, that's probably unrealistic. Okay, last one, power of habits. Your mind automatically turns almost everything you do into a habit because it's easier. If I don't have to think about brushing my teeth every day, I just do it at the same time every day. I don't have to think about it. That takes one more thing off my mind. But if I get home from work and I walk in the house and I see the TV and the couch, and that automatically says to my mind, ooh, sit down and watch TV and eat French fries. That's what I'm going to do every day. And the cue is that I walk in my house and I see my TV and my couch. That's what cues my head and my brain into saying, oh, you should sit down because that's my routine. And you shouldn't get up the rest of the night. You can watch a lot of Hallmark commercials if you have them recorded. I mean, not commercials, but shows. If you have them recorded, you can skip through the commercials. Not that I did that over the holiday, maybe. And what's my reward? Well, I like watching Hallmarks, and it gives me that good feeling, right? But how do we, so we're probably not going to get rid of those habits. What we need to do is modify those habits. So when I walk in the house and I see the couch and the TV, my brain should automatically say, oh, you need to exercise before you can sit down and have supper. Or when I get up in the morning and I've been intentional about putting out my exercise clothes and my shoes, and I get up and I see that, what's my brain going to say? Oh, you need to go exercise. So habits are all about the cue. What's a cue when you drive to work and you pass, I don't know, the B store, and you say, oh, I need to stop and get my 32 ounce of Coke. Because this is what people do all the time. On my way to work, I stop and I get my 32 ounce of Coke, and then it sits on my desk and I drink it throughout the day. So the cue is that I'm going to work and I pass the gas station. The routine is that I get my Coke and I drink it, and the reward is I really like caffeine. So how do I change that? I change that to say, okay, I stop and I get my 32 ounces of water with lemon or whatever it is, and then I drink it. So we're not getting rid of that habit, we're modifying, because habits are hard to get rid of. And sometimes they're emotional. I eat when I'm stressed, I eat when I'm bored, right? I bite my nails when I get nervous, whatever it is. So we want to change. Find the cue, figure out what it is that's giving you that information. Oh, I need to do this. Figure out a better routine to make it, and then figure out some sort of reward. Whether that reward is I get to have a nap in the afternoon, or I get to watch a favorite show at the end of the day, or okay, now I get to go play with my kids. Whatever that reward is. So that's really what we want to do there. We want to make sure we substitute that unhealthy habit for a healthy habit. So does that kind of make sense on how those habits are established? What kind of questions do you have about the program? I'm kind of giving you some information tonight to think about, and maybe you don't know what your vision of wellness looks like yet. Maybe you want to go home and think about what is really my vision of wellness, and why do I want to change? What's my reason? So we really want you to think about that, and I promise to get you out of here in an hour, right? So if you don't have questions, anybody comments or questions, make sure I have your team name before you leave. Have you come up with one yet, Kristen? That's your job, she told me. So we will not meet again until after the 6-week challenge. We'll meet the week after the 6-week challenge. We'll take a break with tracking, and then we'll get a new challenge after that. And it's right around the 20th of February, somewhere right around there, that we'll hit our first 6 weeks. Remember to check your emails, read them, report, so that you get your money back.
I do have one question.
Yes.
Because like I asked you on email and I didn't check it again. What are the extra point things? That's like tracking food next week. That's
Yeah,
it.
so the next week is the tracking food, and then for being here tonight, you add 6 points. And those that watch the video can add 3. So those are extra points that you can get with your team. And what we do with your team numbers, when you record those on my Google Doc, it goes right into a form, and then it will automatically add the team scores together, and we average those out, and that's how we determine the team that has the highest points at the end, and then we do individuals at the end of the 6 weeks, and then we'll have some prizes.